What's up, guys? It's Alex. I'm unfortunately not able to come to class tonight because I have tickets to the Timberwolves game, which my girlfriend got for us on Valentine's Day, and I forgot about it last minute, and I didn't have time to change, and I emailed a couple people, but it didn't work out, so we're just going to do it this way and see how it goes. So the second part of Volf Chapter 3, the first part, it starts with the paradise of affliction and memory, and it pretty much highlights the idea that forgetting is important as remembering, and that a forgiven sinner is still a past sinner if not forgotten, and that a remembered wound is an experienced wound. Basically, you gotta pass through the stage of mourning and ultimately reach the stage of non-remembering through God. So basically, it's not forgiven. Nothing is forgiven until it's forgotten. Like, it's not something that affected you deeply, or if it did, you kind of gotta just move on past it and forgive the person and forget. So forgive and forget, I guess that's where that comes from. The second part was drama of embrace, which is the opening of an arms, which is creating an opening for another one. Look at me, what am I doing? And then you gotta wait. You gotta wait for the other person to want the embrace. You can't just like bear hug them. And then there's the closing of the arms. It takes two to complete the embrace, and it's not a complete embrace if the first is left waiting. You can't close your arms around another or else it's forced. I went over. There's 4 features of a successful embrace. Fluidity of identities. We live in overlapping territories, meaning we are not all one type of person. There's 2 distinct people in this embrace. The non-symmetry of a relationship, which means someone's got to take the first step towards the embrace. Again, you can't just force it. The unknown outcome, or undetermination of the outcome, as Wolf says. So it's not guaranteed that it will be reciprocated. And then there's the risk of embrace. You don't know what the outcome will be, which I guess is kind of the same thing, but they're 2 distinct different steps. And then there's like 3 different things that go along with this, which is contract, covenant, and grace. Need for predictability means we use a contract. Like in our current times, you can't really do that. Contract guarantees predictability. It's performance-oriented, limited commitment, and strictly reciprocal, which is kind of the opposite with the hugging, because you don't know. It's not like sign here and you get hugs. So covenant is an agreement between 2 or more persons to do or not do something. So it's not like a formal contract where you're written by law. It's just kind of like, hey, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go along with it. Contract is a metaphor for our social relations nowadays, and he wants it to be more of a covenants type of thing, which is an alternative metaphor, which takes into autonomy and belonging, promotes the interest of a community destiny, restores values from somewhere other than a contract, and then he goes over something about relation between the cross and the covenant, which you can cover in there. I didn't really understand it. And then the second part, he goes over the story of the prodigal son, which kind of brings all the embracing together. It starts with the open arms of the father. He leaves them open and waits. And there's 2 main factors, which is the father giving himself to the estranged son. You probably know the story of the prodigal son. Basically, his son takes all his money, leaves, and comes back with nothing, and he takes him back in. So the father giving himself to the estranged son, and then the receiving of the son back into the household. And it's the questions it raises the question of how identities need to be made if broken relationships are to be restored. I think I wrote that weird, but how identities need to be made if broken relationships are restored. My writing's terrible. So basically, you kind of gotta, you can't just like brush it off. He gets further into it. So the first son, the younger son who leaves, he wanted to unson himself, like, get out of here, I'm out. The second part was the father, who didn't let go of the relationship, like, he maintained the identity of their relationship. And the third was the older brother, who didn't keep the younger brother in his heart, and essentially unsunned himself. And the fourth was the father again, which is the son who is out of his life, Volf uses the term died, is alive again. He rejected the either in or out unspoken rule, like how most people nowadays be like, you left, you stole all my money, you're out, you can't come back. And he just kind of rejected that. And it kind of is emphasizing the fact that relationships have priority over all rules, and he readjusts the identity with that of his changing son. So basically, he's placing relationships above everything else, I guess. He's just maintaining it because you can't just hold on to these grudges. You can't be like a contract with this sort of thing. You gotta leave it open, and you gotta forgive and forget. Is basically three main things that he talks about. And now I'm gonna pose two questions, and you're just gonna see slides, and you can pause it and go over it, and that'll happen now.